They showed up loud, teeth bared, leashes yanked tight, all bark and ceremony. Sirens of doubt, uniforms of ego, mouths foaming with predictions about your end. They circled and snarled because that's how packs behave, confident in numbers, terrified alone. But you weren't made in crowds, you were carved in silence. While they rehearsed their noise, you learned to move without it. While they trained their dogs to chase, you trained your darkness to wait. You did not arrive to impress, you arrived to end the argument. Understand this, dog, is a title the weak give themselves when they need permission to be aggressive. They need whistles, orders, applause. You needed none of it. You learned hunger the honest way. You learned patience the hard way. You learned that a locked jaw is not strength if it's afraid to unclench. You learned to breathe when the air burned, to stand when the floor gave way, to see without light. They brought creatures that respond to commands. You brought something that responds only to purpose. The beast is not a costume, and it is not rage. The beast is discipline under pressure and clarity in chaos. It counts while others panic. It hears the lie under the shout, the fear under the bravado, the plan under the smoke. It does not sprint for show, it advances to finish. When they push, it does not flinch. When they pull, it does not stumble. When they crowd, it does not negotiate. It expands. It becomes the room. It becomes the rule. They were certain the pack would break you because packs break most people. Numbers overwhelm the untrained. Noise unravels the unfocused. But you are not most people. You spent your winters stockpiling will. You kept your back straight when the ceiling sank. You cultivated a spine that does not ask for permission to hold you up. So when the gate rattled and the ground shook, you did not hope someone would come. You remembered what you built. You remembered who you became. Let them bark. Let them announce their courage to each other in circles. Let them chant the names they think make them strong. You, on the other hand, have work to do. You were not forged to be entertained by conflict. You were designed to resolve it. Every scar you carry is a receipt. Every breath you take in a storm is a signature. You are paid up in full with interest, and interest is expensive when the beast is collecting. Look at the terrain, mud, wire, eyes watching from the cheap seats. Good. The ground is honest. It favors the prepared. Their steps will slip because they trained for applause, not friction. Your steps land because you trained for consequence. They require momentum. You manufacture it. They require comfort. You retired from it. This is not a contest of noise, this is an audit of nerve. And in audits, paper lions burn. So here's what happens next. They surge. You stand. They rush. You advance. They finally meet what they've been chanting about. And the room gets quiet because myth becomes measurement. You will not roar to prove a point. You will not strut to feed a camera. You will move through them like a verdict, calm, complete, unquestioned. When the leashes snap and the handlers scream, you won't even look back. A beast doesn't celebrate the inevitable. It simply demonstrates it. Remember who you are when the ground shakes. Remember the hours no one applauded. Remember the mornings you rose with nothing but duty in your lungs. The pack believes it owns the night. The beast is the night. And when the night decides, the dogs go home. When the dust settles, you don't pose for victory. You count your breaths, check your footing, and mark the exits. Let them limp back to their handlers and rewrite the story in safer language. You won't follow. You didn't come to be believed. You came to be undeniable. The ground remembers weight, and today it learned the difference between noise and presence. You leave tracks that do not wash away with weather. The beast you carry runs on rules, not moods. It doesn't chase applause, and it never negotiates with panic. It moves in three truths. It does not rush, it does not plead, it does not pause when the work has to be done. Threats are catalogued, not feared. Obstacles are measured, not dramatized. There's no theater in your stride, only purpose refined until it looks like calm. While they trained for spectacle, you trained for consequence. You built your lungs under heavy air, your grip under cold iron, your focus under silence that lasted long enough to scare lesser men. Repetition carved patience into your bones and turned doubt into fuel. You didn't need a medal, you needed a standard. And now the standard walks before you like a front line that refuses to break. Listen closely, some of them weren't enemies, only untested. They will follow whoever stands when the room tilts. Be that pillar, not a savior with speeches, but a furnace with discipline. Your steadiness pulls scattered minds into formation, and even fear learns to face forward when you do. A single spine can straighten a crowd if it does not bend for weather. Do not pretend fear is gone. You didn't conquer it. You harnessed it. You put fear on your wrist like a pulse and read it for timing. You strapped it to the work like extra weight and got stronger moving with it. Let others boast about being fearless. You will be feared because you are faithful to the task. Fear becomes your early warning system, not your leash. Strategy is what separates a charge from a victory. You compress time by making decisions when others want meetings. You convert damage into data and adjust while moving. You do not answer every bark, you step between them and arrive at the throat of the problem. Where the pack needs a crowd, you need a target. Where they need adrenaline, you need a plan that survives first contact. Understand, this wasn't the final test. It was a demonstration. Next time they will bring more callers, louder whistles, brighter lights. Let them. You will bring the mountain and place it on their path. You will bring the hour they cannot outlast. And when the signal to attack echoes again, you won't change your tone. You will do what you always do. Enter, execute, exit. Carry your silence like armor. Keep your tempo steady when the world sprints itself breathless. The dogs came for a scene, the beast delivered a result. That is your legacy, not a roar but a record. Walk on, let the handlers argue about what went wrong. You already know, they brought the dogs, you brought the beast. And after today, the dogs will learn a new command. Stay. You don't owe the world an explanation for your strength. You owe it proof. Proof is built in the dark, away from witnesses when the floor is cold and the clock is cruel. That's where you rewired your instincts. Not to flee, not to freeze, but to focus. You trained your nervous system to answer chaos with cadence. Inhale, assess, advance. The pack can fake a growl, but only the beast can keep rhythm under fire. There is a difference between being dangerous and being dependable. Dangerous is cheap. A mood, a spike, a headline. Dependable is expensive. It costs you early mornings, clean nutrition, boring repetition, and the quiet sacrifice of being misunderstood. You paid those dues without posting receipts. That's why pressure respects you. It recognizes its own in your eyes. You are not chasing trophies. You are building thresholds. Every day you push the line a step forward and bolt it to the ground so you can never slip back. That is how endurance becomes identity. When they attempt to drown you in noise, your thresholds hold. When they try to bury you in doubt, your thresholds rise like scaffolding and you climb. Remember what the beast protects. Not ego, not applause. It protects the mission and the people who have to live with the result. The loud will try to rent your focus with panic. Decline the offer. Your duty is paid in outcomes, not arguments. You don't attend every fight. You end the right ones. You don't swing at shadows. You break the hinge that swings the door. Your creed is carved into the bones of your work. Move with purpose. Speak with restraint. Finish with certainty. There is no glory in starting fast and fading. Glory lives in the last minute when lungs are ash and legs are steel. The beast keeps a reserve that the crowd doesn't know exists. That's why the end belongs to you. Let them upgrade their bark. You will upgrade your base. Add one more plate to the bar. Add one more lap when the legs complain. Add one more hour to the skill they said you'd never master. Increment is your weapon. Discipline is your fangs. Consistency is your bite force. You don't need rage to be relentless. You need rules that don't bend when you're tired. You will be tested again by faces that look new but make the same mistakes, outsourcing their courage to numbers, outsourcing their will to orders. You will answer the way you always do, by turning the field into a classroom and the conflict into curriculum. They'll leave with a lesson or a limp. Either way, the standard remains. Walk forward with the silence of someone who has already decided. The dogs can have the noise, the beast will have the night. And when the next siren cuts the sky, you won't seek permission from your pulse. You will stand, you will steady, and you will do what you were built to do, arrive like gravity and leave like law. You learn to stop chasing momentum and start manufacturing gravity. When the world spins, you do not grab for the nearest handrail. You become the axis they rotate around. That is why the floor prefers your feet. That is why the air thickens when you enter a room. The pack reads your presence as weather. Storm if you must, but never drift. You outgrew the need to be understood. Understanding is a luxury purchased by those with spare time. You don't have spare time. You have appointments with your limits. Every day you meet them on schedule. You shake hands and you push past them a step. That step is small to spectators and enormous to the future. The dogs sprint. The beast accumulates. When doubt shows up, let it sit in the front row and watch. Do not debate it. Do not feed it. Perform the work in front of it until it learns your language. Reps, records, routines. Doubt is bilingual. It always learns the dialect of discipline if you speak it long enough. By the time it's fluent, the show is over and the result is signed. You make peace with the grind by giving it names. You call the early alarm advantage. You call the empty gym silence. You call the last rep receipt. And when your legs quiver and your lungs burn, you do not think of escape. You think of alignment. Body with mission, breath with standard, effort with outcome. Pain becomes precise when aim is clear. Do not chase battles that pay in applause. Choose the ones that pay in leverage. Leverage lifts families, builds teams, shields the young, restores the broken. The beast is not a decoration for your ego. It is a tool for your people. Carry it without theatrics. Wield it without cruelty. Point it at the work that outlives your name. They will try one more trick, the ceremony of concern. They'll tell you to slow down for your own good, to shrink so others can breathe, to dim so the room is comfortable. Smile, then continue your pace. Mercy is not the same as mediocrity. You can be kind and still be carved from iron. You can be gracious and still be immovable. Your calm will frighten them more than your power ever did. Rage is predictable. Calm is expensive. Calm says you have rehearsed this moment while they were practicing excuses. Calm says you already paid for the outcome, and now you're here to collect. Calm turns a crowded field into a narrow hallway, and in hallways the beast is efficient. From here your orders are the same as they've always been. Tighten the form, lengthen the breath, shorten the story. Eat well, lift heavy, read deeply. Rest like it's part of the set because it is. Keep your circle sharp and your standards sharper. When the leash snaps and the bark rises again, you won't need to become anything. You'll simply be what the work made you. Like, comment, and subscribe. Walk on. Let the handlers count their callers and draft new chants. Let the sirens rehearse their songs. You know the terrain. You own your pace. And when history asks what separated noise from presence, it will find your footprints in the mud and your fingerprints on the outcome. They brought the dogs. You brought the beast. And the night learned the difference. Like, comment, and subscribe.